Hello everyone, welcome to Inclusive Bharat and welcome to the daily Hindu newspaper analysis. So in this video, we'll be discussing the important articles from the Hindu newspaper for 24 August 2023. So this is the first article that we are going to discuss. There are two articles which is related to the recent Prime Minister Modi's visit to Ukraine, and also there is an editorial section which discusses in detail about the recent visit and its implications. Let's understand this news in detail. Okay, first, India stands on Ukraine conflict. See, Prime Minister Narendra Modi stated that India is not neutral in Ukraine conflict, but has chosen the side of peace. So we are not neutral, but says that we have chosen the side of peace. India is committed to respecting the sovereignty and territorial integrity of all countries, and India is willing to play an active role in restoring peace in Ukraine. So this is the India's stance on Ukraine conflict. And if you see diplomatic engagement and agreement, so the visit by Prime Minister Modi to Ukraine is described as landmark because this is the first visit by Indian Prime Minister since Ukraine gained independence from in 1991. So in this recent visit, four agreements were signed between India and Ukraine. That is humanitarian aid for high capacity development projects, cooperations in agriculture and food industry, cultural cooperation, drug quality and regulation. So these are the four agreements that were signed between India and Ukraine recently. And to reiterate that, so after Ukraine gets its independence, from 1991 onwards, this is the first time that an Indian Prime Minister is visiting Ukraine. So what is the India's role in global peace initiative? See, India reiterated its position on peaceful resolution through dialogue and diplomacy. That is always our policy. That is always India's policy. So India participated in summit on peace in Ukraine held in Switzerland in June. Yes. Now related to energy and economic consideration. See, Ukraine Prime President, he emphasized that India's influence on Russian economy due to its significant purchase of Russian oil. So India, Indian External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar, he explained that India's energy purchase and emphasizing the need for reasonable and stable oil price due to the tight energy market. So these are the energy and economic consideration. So when Ukraine President is concerned about India's influence on Russian economy, we reiterated that we always, due to the tight energy market, and also we need a stable oil price, we are diversifying our imports. So geopolitical dynamics. If you see President Zelensky, he highlighted that if India changed its stance towards Russia, it could significantly impact the this ongoing conflict, and also suggesting that Russia would be forced to reconsider its action. And also the Ukraine president also indicated that the financial flow from India and China helps sustain Russia's war economy. So this is the concern from the president of Ukraine. That is, he's stating that we are buying oils from Russia, and even China is having trade relations with Russia. Because of that, Russia is sustaining this war economy because they have a good financial flow. That is his concern. So India's strategic autonomy. See, India maintains a balanced stance, focusing on national interest, particularly regarding the energy security, and is not always by external pressure. Okay, the country's strategy includes diversifying our oil imports, considering the marketing condition, and ensuring the energy security. This has always been as a strategic move from India. So potential areas of cooperation, if you see, Ukraine expressed interest in further collaborating in India in high-tech sectors like defense, emphasizing the co-development and co-production opportunity. And with respect to humanitarian aspects, so Prime Minister Modi during his visit, he paid respect to the children who lost their life in conflict, highlighting the humanitarian impact of war. So these are the important points from the article. But there is an editorial section that will discuss what are the potential implications of what is happening recently. Okay, we'll discuss that in the upcoming slide. See, United Nations and international diplomacy. See, the discussion on Indian stance at United Nations was acknowledged, but no change in India's voting pattern on resolutions concerning Ukraine war. That was also reported during this visit. Okay, because in the United Nations, India's stance was neutral, and we have no changes in that voting pattern. Okay, so this is the editorial that I was discussing. So this is let's also understand this what this editorial says. See, after the Russian-Ukraine war conflict, that started from February 2022, India has maintained a neutral stance. That is, even in the all United Nations resolution, we abstained. Okay, that dealt with conflicts and criticized Russia. India has not aligned itself with either side. We are not aligned with either side. Instead, focused on language of peace without directly condemning Russia's action. If you see, we always focus on the language of peace without condemning because that's how international relation works. So India's action and reaction. So India continued its economic relationship with Russia, ignoring the Western sanctions that we all know. Uh, Even after sanctions were put to Russia, we import oil from Russia and defense hardware payments were done. We also know that the global payment called SWIFT that was also cancelled, but still we tried to have a um, we tried to have this rupee ruble uh, we tried having this kind of where we can directly pay Indian money and I mean pay Indian money and buy oils. Okay, because the SWIFT global payment system was cancelled to Russia. So India did not support Ukraine request to participate G20 summit last year and sends high-level political representation to peace summit in Switzerland in June 2023. So we neither attended the G20 summit or the political high-level political representation peace summit in Switzerland in June 2023. Our Prime Minister Narendra Modi, he visits to Kiev. This is the first since 1991, indicating the potential shift or at least a balancing act in Indian diplomacy, a diplomatic approach. Okay. So the nature of Modi's visit to Ukraine. Thus, the visits by Prime Minister Modi was largely symbolic and aimed at balancing Indian diplomatic position rather than making a significant stride towards peace negotiation. So we are not trying to bring peace negotiation. Instead, we are balancing India's diplomatic position. So that is how the nature of this visit has been. That is what this article says. And during the visit, discussion focused on conflicts, including visits to memorial of children killed in the war. However, there was no meeting with the war casualties or injured soldiers or civilians, unlike other international leaders who, once they go to Ukraine, they visit the casualties. But from Indian side, we didn't visit those casualties. And also, as stated, there are 4 agreements signed between India and Ukraine, focusing on cooperations in agriculture, uh, medical products, community development assistance, and there is no discussions to a strategic partnership or other critical issues. This was actually expected at strategic partnerships, but there was no discussion, and Ukraine has requested and other critical issues that Ukraine have requested, such as supplies of telecom, medical infrastructure, construction equipment. There were no discussions on this. So, what is the India's role in global peace efforts? If you see, the visit raises questions whether India will play a more active role in resolving Russia-Ukraine conflict. There are suggestions for a summit in November where India could have a larger influence. So India is one of the few countries that have maintained diplomatic engagements with both Kiev and Moscow, positioning itself as a potential mediator for peace initiative. So if you see India as being the leader of the global south, what does global south means? If you see global north, global north, if you say north, so north, this means all the developed countries, whereas global south is nothing but all the developing countries. If you see the world, most of the developed countries are in northern hemisphere and most of the developing countries are in southern hemisphere. That is why this name global south. Okay, as a leader of global south, India's interest in ensuring that the conflict in Europe and resulting sanction do not negatively impact developing and underdeveloped nations. See, there are many sanctions that are posed on the developing countries, and there is also conflict in the Europe. But as a leader of global south, we should ensure that this does not affect, or there should not be any negative impact on developing and underdeveloped nations. So that is what this article suggests. And also, potential and limitations of Indian mediation role. If you see, despite being a unique position to mediate, India has not shown a stronger interest in actively pursuing peace efforts beyond encouraging direct dialogues between the two parties. So we always reiterate, when there is a conflict, we want them to engage in a direct dialogue. That's how it happens. Even in India-China conflict, we always have a dialogue. So India is not actively showing some interest. Rather, it is always encouraging a direct dialogue. That's what this article says. So what is the relevance for UPSC? Understanding this foreign policy approach, especially in balancing act and global conflict, is crucial. Okay, for international relation, diplomacy, and global governance. Okay, so We'll move on to the next article. See, Anil Ambani and 24 others banned from SEBI, fined up to 624 crores. Let me explain this article in detail. If you see SEBI's action against Anil Ambani, say SEBI is nothing but the Securities and Exchange Board of India. This is the regulatory board for financial markets in India. Okay, this has banned Anil Ambani, chairman of the Reliance ADA group, and 24 others from accessing the security markets for 5 years. This is a huge step. This ban includes prohibiting them from buying and selling securities and being associated with security markets, including serving as a director or key managerial position in any listed companies or its associate companies. So let me explain you. You see, we have the financial market, and in financial market, we can buy, sell stocks and do many others. We have futures, options, and many other things that we can do it in financial markets, but they have been banned. Okay, 24 other people and Anil Ambani, they have been uh, um, uh, they are being banned. Okay, for buying and selling securities, and also serving as a director or a key managerial personnels of any listed companies or associate companies. So they are completely being banned. Why? See, the ban is due to the alleged involvement in diverting funds from Reliance Home Finance Limited, RHFL. Okay, RHFL, it's a Reliance Home Financial Limited. Okay, they provide loans. Okay, but what they have did is they have diverted this fund from this Reliance Home Financial Limited, a company promoted by Reliance Capital Limited, a part of Reliance ADA Group. They have diverted this fund. So because of this fund was diverted, that become an NPA, non-performing asset. So SEBI investigation concluded that the certain KMPs, that is the key managerial personnel, under the instructions of Anil Ambani, systematically stripped RHFL's assets in disregard of the company's board of directors. Okay, without the knowledge of board of directors, they have stripped. Now, how much is the financial penalties imposed? If you see, SEBI has imposed penalty of 25 crores and 21 other entities, as I said, they are also fined up to 25 crores. The KMP, the key manager positions of RHFL, including few people like Amit Bapna, Ravindra Sudhalkar, and Pinkesh R. Shah, they were fined 27 crores, 26 crores, and 21 crores, and 6 lakh for RHFL itself. So total penalty is about 624 crores. This is what, it's a very huge amount. So detail from SEBI order spanning 222 pages outlined how diversion of fund occurred through dispersing general purpose working capital. So the general purpose working capital loans, which later become a non-performing asset, leading to financial erosion. So SEBI emphasized the need to quantify the gains made by the promoter linked entities and to identify the real beneficiary behind these transactions. So he's telling, see, there was a amount that was, as stated, they've diverted funds. SEBI asked that quantify the gains made by the promoter linked entities and also identify the real beneficiary behind this transaction, who's really benefited behind this transaction. Okay. And there is, say, SEBI order strong, the SEBI's order, they strongly criticized the actions of these persons, alleging aiding in diversion and misuse of funds from the listed company for the benefit of other entities within the Reliance ADA group itself. Their order noted that the gross misconduct and unprofessional behavior is in approving the GCP loans, which contributed to the erosion of shareholders' wealth also. Okay. So the case highlighted the issues related to corporate governance, regulatory oversights, and ethical conduct within the Indian financial market. So SEBI's action underscores the regulatory role in maintaining market integrity and protecting investors from fraudulent activities. So, see, when you take financial market, now and then, always there are few loopholes. So using these loopholes, many people, they do many fraudulent activities. So SEBI being a regulatory body, there's always, find those. They will find and they come up with better, uh, options how to stop those fraudulent activities. So SEBI is always, they have works, and also as many people are educated, they use financial market for personal gains. Okay. Now, this is the next article. Space sector contributed 20,000 crore rupees to Indian GDP over the last decade. Let's understand this article in detail. How ISRO have contributed. I mean, in in overall, how space sector have contributed. Okay. So Indian space sector directly contributed 24 billion, that is 20,000 crores in Indian GDP over the past 10 years. So sector have directly supported approximately 96,000 jobs in public and private sectors. So the multiplier effect and the productivity. See, for every dollar that is produced by space sector, there is a multiplier effect of 2.54 on the Indian economy. $1 if you spend, the multiplier effect will have $2.54 of work is done in India. This means the sector generates significant additional economic activity beyond the direct output. India's space sector workforce is 2.5 times more productive than the country's broader industrial workforce, indicating a high level efficiency and impact in space industry. So there is a 2.5 times more productivity. Okay. So study on socio-economic impact. From where did we get this detail? This finding were part of presentation by a person affiliated to affiliate executive advisor of Nova Space, an European consultancy, during the National Space Day celebration. This detail was given by this person during the National Space Day celebration. The study was initiated by Indian Space Research Organization to evaluate the socio-economic impact of the space sectors from 2014 to 2023. Okay, nearly 9 years, nearly a decade. What are the socio-economic impact of the space sector? So research methodology, if you see, the study was conducted by Indian economists, research from Econ 1 and Nova Space. The research involved interviews with representatives from 56 organizations across the public and private sectors to gather data on space sector impact. So what is this National Space Day celebration? This celebration were held to commemorate the first anniversary of the successful landing of Chandrayaan-3 on August 23 of 2023. So this event was attended by President and the ministers and ISRO chairman S. Somnath. Okay. So that is all about this article. The space sector contributes 20,000 crores India's GDP over the last decade. Now let's move on to the next article. Government eyes arming youth with Japanese language to tap Japan jobs. Let me give you a detailed analysis of this article. See, India's initiative on skill development. See, Indian government is considering, that is, we are trying to include Japanese language training in the skill development program to create employment opportunities for Indian youths. This initiative is part of a broader efforts to identify niche areas where skilling can lead to better job prospects. Why? Why do we want to include Japanese language? See, Japan's labor market, if you see, there are a lot of opportunities. The plan to introduce this training comes in response to a labor shortage in Japan. There is at least a demand for about 4 lakh workers. Okay. Due to Japan's aging population and also the shrinking workforce, there is a high demand for skilled laborers, offering opportunities for foreign workers, including those from India. And also, this is a high paying job prospect. If you see, Commerce and Industry Minister Piyush Goyal is emphasizing that the learning Japanese could almost guarantee a high paying job in Japan for skilled individuals from India. The initiative aligns with government objective to enhance employment prospects abroad through target skill development. So there is a collaborative efforts with industrial bodies. See, the suggestions to focus on Japan's labor market needs came from the Confederation of Indian Industry, highlighting the role of industrial bodies in shaping government policies government policies for skill development, and also focuses on vocational training and lifelong learning. So, Union Minister for State for Skill Development and Entrepreneurship, they emphasize that importance of vocational skills and lifelong learning suggests that the young people should not solely rely on formal degrees for employment. That is obvious. Nowadays, if you see, just the formal degrees is not enough. Lifetime learning, lifetime, every day we have to learn things. So that is how the market should also be. Okay, it stressed that the importance of acquiring various critical skills that could lead to a gainful employment, reflecting the shift towards practical and skill-based education. Okay, and the next important news is India records highest trade deficit with China. If you see, US has emerged as India's top trading partner during Jan to June this year, while the country has recorded its highest trade deficit of 41.6 billion with China. What is that? See, we import few things, we export few things. Okay. So when the import is higher and export is lower, that is trade deficit. Okay. If both are equal, then the trade is balanced. But when the imports are higher and exports are lower, that's called trade deficit. How much is that difference? It says with China, we have $41.6 billion. Okay. So China topped the list with a substantial trade deficit of 41.6, as exports of China were 8.5 billion, while import is 50.1 billion during Jan to June 2024. Okay, but actually, if you see trade partnership, the top trading partner is US. So a lot of trade activities happens between India and US. So the trade deficit is high with China. So this is another article from the Hindu newspaper. That's from the editorial section. The road to 2024 for Indian agriculture. Let me explain this article in detail. If you see, India's goal for 2047. So this is a centennial year of Indian independence. The country aims of becoming a developed nation. So to achieve this goal, we need a sustainable increase in the per capita gross national income. That is not just the gross national income, it's per capita, per person that we have to increase, demanding a comprehensive development, particularly in agriculture. We need a comprehensive development. So let's understand the sustainable agriculture practice in India. Transforming Indian agriculture hinges on adapting sustainable practice to maintain a long-term productivity and environmental health. What are the key methods for the sustainable agriculture practice. Precision farming, that is using advanced technology for efficient farming practices. So precision farming. Genetically modified crops that improves the crop resilience and yield. Advanced irrigation techniques, methods like drip and sprinkler systems to improve water use efficiency. So, and also Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, that is covering 78 lakh hectares with micro irrigation, demonstrating the government's commitment to sustainable water management. So the Pradhan Mantri Krishi Sinchai Yojana, okay, all these things. So these are required for a sustainable agriculture practice. So what are the challenges in agriculture sector? You see the climate change and land degradation. This poses a significant threats to agriculture sustainability. And the second important issue is market access issue. The farmer often struggles to reach the market where they can get a fair price for their produce. And financial risk management. So if you see India, we have this Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana that provides a financial assistance for crop losses like insurance. It's a kind of insurance. It covers 49.5 crore farmers enrolled. It plays a crucial role in managing agriculture risks. But still, these are the challenges in the agriculture sector. See, because this Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana, it's still in the paper. Most of the farmers, they don't know what this Pradhan Mantri Fasal Bima Yojana is. There is a technological integration and market access. If you see, we have this ENAM, Electronic National Agriculture Market. This was launched in 2016 to integrate market via electronic platforms. By 2023, if you see 1,361 mandis were integrated, benefiting about 1.76 million farmers, enabling a trade worth of 2.88 lakh crores. So just understand ENAM, okay? It is an electronic national agriculture market. This is to integrate the markets. So when you get into this market, we can know what are the prices and where to sell, how to sell, demands and supply. Everything is related to this electronic national agriculture market. Let's understand the economic imbalance in agriculture. If you see Indian workforce, 46% of the Indian workforce, they contribute, they are engaged in agriculture, but they contribute only 18% of the GDP. There is a significant imbalance. If this current growth continues, okay, this imbalance will still worsen. Agriculture share in GDP may shrink to 7 to 8% by 2047, potentially still employing 30% of the workforce. There's an economic imbalance in agriculture. If you see the population growth and food demand, India's population is expected to reach 1.5 billion by 2030, 1.59 billion by 2040, increasing food demand for food. If you see expenditure elasticity of food, it is estimated to be at 0.45. That is indicating that 2.85% annual growth in food demand. Every year, there is a 2.85% of food demand. This requires a significant increase in food production to meet the growing demands. We'll understand the initiatives for sustainable agriculture growth. See, Prime Minister, this Pradhan Mantri Kisan Samman Nidhi. This provides financial support to the farmers with 6,000 rupees annually. It has benefited over like 11.8 crore farmers. And also, if you see, we have soil health cards scheme. This promotes soil nutrient optimization to enhance productivity. Over 23 crores SHC distributed. We have the soil health code that was distributed. 23 crores SHC were distributed. And we also have agriculture infrastructure fund, over 1 lakh crore financial facilities for post-harvest management infrastructure developments. And over 38,326 projects have been sanctioned, creating jobs and improving farmers' income. Okay, what is this infrastructure? For example, after post-harvesting, you will have a cold storage as one example, okay? And SVA MITVA. This is an initiative. This aims to provide transparent property ownership in rural areas, enhancing land security and credit access to farmers. These are all the initiatives for sustainable agriculture growth. Okay. What are the strategic plans for agriculture by 2047? What are the strategic plannings that we need? Government strategy includes forecasting future demand for agriculture products, learning from the past growth drivers, and addressing current challenges is necessary. That's what the article says. Projections suggested that the total demand for food grains by 2047-28 will be 402 million tons to 437 million tons, with production expected will exceed the demand by 10 to 13%. So meeting future food demand sustainably will require significant investment in agriculture, research, infrastructure, and policy support. Because why we should give more importance to this part is because, India's emerging economy by 2047, if you see, various other sectors are performing well, but if agriculture sector does not perform well, there is a food shortage for all other sectors also. So that invariably it will affect other sectors also. So that is why we should focus on agriculture, that too a sustainable agriculture practice. For that, we need more agriculture research, we need more infrastructures and policy supports. So while there are challenges like climate change, market access, financial risks, there is also opportunity in adopting sustainable practices, leveraging technological innovations, and implementing strategic initiatives. So being when I'll put some points from my side. You see, um, we have small farmers, okay, small farmers. When implementing this technological innovations, there are many technology that have come into picture for support of agriculture, but still small farmers, they cannot afford those technological innovations. You see, we have micro irrigation, okay, but yet government is still supporting few farmers to provide pipes, subsidy in pipes, and also they provide free electricity. But still, there are a few other challenges. For example, uh, this how to understand to have to understand about the humidity levels in the field. We need to have real-time data so that this micro irrigation will be more effective. For that, we need sensors. So small farmers, the sensors are not affordable. So that is very important concern that I know from my side. Okay. So what is the relevance? This article provides insights of Indian agriculture policies, sustainability, economic balance, and strategic planning, which are all relevant for the topics of UPSC syllabus, particularly under agriculture, economy, and environment. So that is it. These are the important articles. So these are the important articles from the Hindu newspaper for today. Thank you. If you do like this initiative, please subscribe, share, and thank you.